Elara, I refuse to have a fiancé who is a compulsive liar. Today, you're eating these shrimp, whether you like it or not. My fiancé, Julian, pointed to the plate of shrimp he had peeled for his secretary, forcing me, a person with a deadly seafood allergy, to eat them. His secretary tearfully begged me to stop making a scene, while my soon-to-be mother-in-law accused me of disgracing the Sinclair family. Everyone was convinced I was using my life-threatening allergy to gain sympathy. Very well, I said with a smile, calmly picking up my phone. Hello, Mr. Davis. I'm at my engagement party, being coerced by my fiancé into consuming a fatal allergen. The entire scene is being recorded, and I'll send you the evidence. Also, notify my assistant. Initiate Project Scorched Earth. At our engagement party, my fiancé's secretary, Sophia, wore a striking red cheongsam, following closely behind us as we made our toasts. Whenever a guest raised their glass, she would quickly step in front of me, managing the conversation with a radiant smile. Please forgive any shortcomings in our hospitality. Eat and drink to your heart's content. She moved with such practiced ease, as if she were the hostess of the evening, and I, the actual fiancé, didn't even have a chance to speak. Guests praised her, remarking not only on her beauty but also on her remarkable capabilities. After the toasts, at the main table, I sat to Julian's left, while she, as if it were her right, sat to his right, under the watchful eyes of everyone present. My fiancé, Julian, began to peel shrimp for Sophia as if I wasn't even there. His long, slender fingers deftly removed the shells, placing each perfect shrimp onto the dish in front of her until they formed a small mountain. You must be exhausted lately. Eat more to regain your strength, he said, his voice soft with undisguised affection. I was completely ignored. I lifted my wine glass, swirling the liquid inside, my eyes landing on Sophia's coy, blushing face. I let out a soft chuckle. Miss Sophia, does shrimp peeled by another woman's fiancé taste especially sweet? Sophia's face instantly paled, and the hand holding her bowl began to tremble. Elara, please don't misunderstand. Her eyes immediately welled up, her voice quivering. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let Mr. Sinclair take care of me. I've just been so weak lately. My blood sugar has dropped several times. Mr. Sinclair was just being kind. With that, she timidly pushed the plate of shrimp away, a tear rolling down her cheek at the perfect moment. I won't eat them. Please don't be angry. Elara, it's not worth upsetting yourself over someone like me. What a delicate, innocent, and oh, so understanding white lotus. Before I could respond, Julian frowned, turning to me with an impatient scowl. That's enough. Elara, if you want shrimp, just say so. Who are you trying to impress with these snide remarks? Do you know what today is? Do you have to make such an ugly scene? I smiled, meeting his irritated gaze, and asked, each word crystal clear. Julian, have you forgotten? He paused, clearly not following my train of thought. I never eat shrimp. I am severely allergic to seafood, the kind that sends you straight to the emergency room. A flicker of shock crossed Julian's face, but it was quickly replaced by a deeper annoyance. He scoffed, his tone dismissive and condescending. What's the big deal? He sneered again, his voice dripping with contempt. It's just an allergy. It's not like it will kill you. Seeing my silence, he felt his authority challenged and raised his voice. Elara, can you be a little more mature? Sophia isn't feeling well, so I helped her out. What's wrong with that? Do you have to humiliate me over something so trivial in front of all our friends and family? He turned back to Sophia, whose tears were now streaming down her face, and his voice softened. Don't mind her. She's just spoiled and can't stand to see anyone else being treated well. Go on, eat. They'll get fishy if they get cold. I lowered my eyes and tapped my phone screen. The record button was quietly activated. The camera was now aimed at this touching scene. A few seconds later, I stood up. I raised my wine glass, a polite smile gracing my lips as I surveyed the room. Thank you all for being here tonight. However, I regret to inform you that the wedding between myself and Mr. Julian Sinclair is hereby cancelled. A wave of shock rippled through the room. Amidst the stunned gazes, I turned to Julian, whose face had turned ashen, and drained the red wine from my glass. I won't be asking for the deposit on the banquet hall back. Consider it my wedding gift. I wish you and Miss Sophia a pleasant meal. Elara, you stop right there. A sharp shriek came from behind me. It was my would-be mother-in-law, Mrs. Sinclair. She rushed towards me, pointing a finger at my nose and screaming, "How can you be so unreasonable? You're going to ruin this marriage over a plate of shrimp. You have brought utter shame to the Sinclair family." Her eyes were filled with scorn and a sense of superiority, as if my marrying into her family was the greatest blessing I could ever receive. Let me tell you, Elara, you will apologize to Julian and Sophia today. Otherwise, you will never set foot in the Sinclair family home again. She was certain I wouldn't dare to leave Julian. Julian also came forward, grabbing my wrist, his face flushed with the anger of being publicly humiliated. Have you made enough of a scene? Do you really want everyone to laugh at us? Throwing a little tantrum in private is one thing, but look at how many people are here today. Tell everyone right now that you were just kidding. Friends and relatives began to crowd around. That's right, Elara, can't you two talk things out in private? Don't make a scene in front of everyone. Julian meant well, he probably just forgot for a moment. Just be the bigger person, quick, sit down, we'll pretend nothing happened. Sophia also approached, her eyes glistening with tears. Elara, please don't be like this. I know you're not really allergic, you're just angry at me and want Mr. Sinclair to comfort you. It's all my fault, my body is so weak, making Mr. Sinclair have to take care of me. With that, she started crying again. The way the relatives looked at me changed. Oh, so it's just a little lover's quarrel. All this talk about an allergy. She just wanted Julian to peel shrimp for her. This girl is quite scheming. She's already this much trouble before even getting married. A real homewrecker, Mrs. Sinclair said, looking me up and down with disdain. At the perfect moment, Sophia brought the plate of shrimp to me. Elara, please eat. If you eat, you won't be angry anymore. Okay. Julian looked at me, the last trace of affection in his eyes replaced by disgust. Elara, I don't want a fiancé who is a compulsive liar. He pointed at the shrimp. In all the years we've been together, I haven't even touched seafood to accommodate your allergy. If it wasn't for Sophia's thoughtfulness in planning this dinner, I would have never known what I was missing. Today, in front of everyone, you will eat this plate of shrimp. I want to see for myself whether this allergy of yours is real or fake. He was demanding I prove my innocence with my life. I smiled, meeting everyone's gaze before turning to Julian and speaking clearly. Are you sure you want me to eat this? Julian, in legal terms, this is called aggravated assault. Are you threatening me? My calmness completely enraged him. He took a step forward, his words practically ground out between his teeth. Today, you're eating these shrimp, whether you like it or not. All eyes were fixed on the plate of glistening shrimp before me. Julian's face was twisted with fury, a cruel glint in his eyes that I had never seen before. Very well, I said softly. Julian was stunned. Mrs. Sinclair was stunned. Even the sobbing Sophia paused her performance. They probably expected me to cry, to struggle, but I didn't either. I simply sat back down, smoothed my skirt, and looked up at Julian with a smile. Since Mr. Sinclair is so eager for a show, I must satisfy your curiosity. My composure unsettled him. He frowned, his eyes filled with suspicion. I ignored him and took another phone from my handbag, dialing a number in front of everyone. Hello, Mr. Davis. A calm, professional male voice answered from the other end. Miss Vance, I'm here. My gaze swept over Julian's ashen face, Mrs. Sinclair's bewildered expression, and finally rested on Sophia's deathly pale face. My smile widened. Mr. Davis, I need you to bring a medical team and a notary public to the banquet hall on the 3rd floor of the Regent Hotel immediately. Yes, right now. I paused, raising my voice slightly to ensure everyone around could hear clearly. I am at my engagement party. My fiancé, Mr. Julian Sinclair, and his family are coercing me into consuming a food that could cause fatal anaphylactic shock. I am being forced to eat this plate of shrimp in front of everyone. Before I begin, please have the notary record Mr. Sinclair's exact words. Today, you're eating these shrimp, whether you like it or not. Additionally, this phone has been recording since the confrontation began. I will send you the video evidence. If I die, sue Julian Sinclair for premeditated murder. If I am fortunate enough to survive, sue him for aggravated assault. Also, notify my medical team to prepare epinephrine and all necessary resuscitation equipment. Tell Dr. Evans that my allergen is tropomyosin. Once ingested, it triggers a rapid, systemic anaphylactic reaction, leading to laryngeal edema, respiratory failure, and death. He must be prepared for the worst case scenario. Finally, I said, looking at the petrified Julian, enunciating each word, notify my assistant to immediately initiate Project Scorched Earth. Step 1. Short all circulating shares of the Sinclair Group. I hung up. The guests who had been pointing and whispering now looked at me with a new understanding. They finally realized this was no longer a simple lover's quarrel. Julian's face went from ashen to a ghastly white, his grip on my wrist loosened, and his lips trembled, unable to form a single word. Mrs. Sinclair's pointing finger froze mid-air, the muscles in her face twitching uncontrollably, but the best part was Sophia's expression. Her once tear-streaked face was now completely drained of color, the terror in her eyes impossible to hide behind a facade of delicacy. She probably couldn't fathom how a single plate of shrimp could lead to accusations of premeditated murder and shorting a company's stock. Elara, you're insane. Julian finally found his voice. I'm not insane. I elegantly picked up my chopsticks, lifted a shrimp, and brought it to my lips. You're the one who forgot the true nature of our engagement. You're the one who forgot how your family's precarious financial chain was saved only by the capital injection from my family. You're the one who forgot that the delicacies you missed out on are the primary product of the coastal resort project I secured for you using all of my connections and resources. And most of all, you forgot. My gaze turned ice cold, that I, Elara Vance, have never been a lamb for slaughter. My father taught me from a young age that when dealing with wolves, you either stay away, or you shatter every last one of their teeth. Just as I finished speaking, the banquet hall doors burst open with a loud bang. A team of doctors and nurses in white coats rushed in with a crash cart, moving with swift professionalism. Following them were several serious-looking individuals in suits, led by my lawyer, Mr. Davis. He strode to my side, glanced at the shrimp on the table, then at the pale-faced Sinclair family, a cold light flashing in his eyes. He gave me a slight nod. Ms. Vance, the medical team and the notary are in place. We can begin whenever you're ready. The scene was utterly absurd. What should have been a joyous engagement party now felt like a courtroom, or perhaps, the staging ground for a suicide mission. Under the gaze of every single person, I slowly placed the shrimp in my mouth. The moment the sweet, fishy taste exploded on my tongue, my body's most primal alarm bells went off. My throat began to tighten, red welts appeared on my skin at a visible rate, and my breathing became ragged, but I showed no sign of pain. I simply chewed calmly, and then swallowed. The taste is actually quite good, I managed to say. I looked up at Julian, who was now in a full-blown panic. Are you satisfied, Mr. Sinclair? He instinctively took a step back, as if terrified by my appearance. You really ate it, he stammered in disbelief. He must have thought I was bluffing, using legal and business threats to force his hand. He never imagined I would actually be willing to play this game with my own life. Yes, I ate it. My breathing was becoming more and more difficult, but I kept my eyes locked on him. You wanted me to prove my innocence, didn't you? Now, I have. Next, it's your turn. It's your turn to prove to the entire world what kind of man you, Julian Sinclair, truly are. Cough, cough, cough. A violent fit of coughing stopped me from saying more. I clutched my neck, feeling my entire airway burn and constrict. Ms. Vance, Mr. Davis's face changed as he immediately ordered the medical team. Quick, epinephrine. Now. The doctors and nurses swarmed around me, skillfully laying me on a stretcher, pushing up my sleeve, and injecting the needle into my vein. The cold liquid flowed into my bloodstream, but the deadly sensation of suffocation did not ease immediately. My vision began to blur, my ears filled with a cacophony of voices. Mrs. Sinclair's screams, the guests' gasps, and Sophia's tearful denials. No, it wasn't me. I didn't know she was really allergic. Mr. Sinclair. Amidst the chaos, I caught one clear detail. Julian's father, the chairman of the Sinclair Group, Mr. Sinclair Sr., the old fox who had been sitting calmly and trying to smooth things over, was now staring at me intently. There was no worry or panic in his eyes, only cold, calculating malice. He wasn't looking at his incompetent son, nor was he comforting his hysterical wife. His gaze was locked firmly on me. He knew that with that one bite of shrimp, I had not only consumed half my life but also the entire future of the Sinclair family. Once my Project Scorched Earth was launched, combined with the explosive scandal of a fiancé forcing his bride to be to her death at their engagement party, the Sinclair Group stock would plummet the moment the market opened, crash, and eventually be liquidated. Decades of his hard work would be wiped out overnight. Therefore, he would never let me die so easily. As expected, just as the medical team was about to take me to the hospital, Mr. Sinclair Sr. stepped forward and blocked the stretcher. He forced a look of profound grief onto his face and addressed the surrounding guests and the financial media reporters. Mr. Davis had invited everyone. This is a Sinclair family matter, and a heartbreaking misunderstanding. Alara is a strong-willed girl, and we failed to take proper care of her, he lamented. He turned to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, I know you represent Alara, but the most important thing right now is to save her life. Our family's private hospital has the best anaphylaxis specialists in the country. Please, let us take Alara there. We will give her the best possible treatment. A brilliant move. Feigning retreat to advance. Once I was on his territory, whether I lived or died would be up to him, wouldn't it? Even if I was saved, he had countless ways to ensure I was silenced. Mr. Davis frowned, about to refuse, but I used the last of my strength to grab his hand and shake my head weakly. Then, I looked at Mr. Sinclair Sr., and mouthed two words, too late. At that very moment, my personal assistant, Anna, called Mr. Davis's phone. He put it on speaker, and Anna's calm, efficient voice echoed through the banquet hall. Mr. Davis, Ms. Vance, Project Scorched Earth has been initiated, Phase 1, regarding the Sinclair Group's $3 billion overseas acquisition project. We have submitted definitive evidence of their financial fraud to their partner, Swiss United Bank. SUB has just issued a notice of unilateral termination of the partnership and is initiating breach of contract proceedings against Sinclair. Phase 2. In coordination with 3 major hedge funds, we began shorting the Sinclair Group on the offshore market with 5 times leverage half an hour ago. Phase 3. A complete chain of evidence detailing shoddy construction and major safety hazards at the Sinclair Group's Azure Bay Coastal Resort project has been anonymously sent to all major domestic media outlets and relevant regulatory bodies. It is projected that when the market opens at 9 a.m. tomorrow, the Sinclair Group stock will hit its daily limit down with no trading volume. Please rest assured, Ms. Vance, we'll handle the rest. The call ended. Mr. Sinclair Sr.'s face was instantly drained of all color. For the first time, his sharp, calculating eyes showed genuine terror. He stared at me on the stretcher, now on the verge of losing consciousness, his lips trembling, unable to utter a sound. I looked at him, and pulled the corners of my mouth into the most sincere smile I had shown all evening. I was unconscious in the hospital for 2 full days. When I woke up, the sun was shining brightly outside, casting a warm glow on the crisp white sheets. My throat was still a bit hoarse, but my breathing was steady. Dr. Evans, my private physician, was carefully checking my vital signs. Ms. Vance, you truly walked through death's door this time, he said, putting away his stethoscope, his expression grave. Fortunately, you were brought in promptly, and the epinephrine was administered quickly. Otherwise, once the laryngeal edema completely blocked your airway, not even a miracle could have saved you. I nodded, my voice still weak. Thank you. What's the situation outside? I asked. Mr. Davis, standing nearby, handed me a tablet displaying a flood of financial news. Shocking scandal. Sinclair Air Force's fiancé to consume allergen at engagement party. Victim collapses on site. Sinclair Group stock plummets at opening. Market cap evaporates by billions. Exclusive. Sinclair Group under investigation for severe financial fraud. Swiss United Bank terminates all partnerships with Sinclair. Massive penalties may be the final straw. The headlines left no room for the Sinclair family to ever recover. Mr. Davis reported succinctly. As you anticipated, the Sinclair Group is finished. Their stock hit the limit down for 3 consecutive days. Banks are recalling loans. Partners are demanding compensation. And regulators have launched a full-scale investigation. Mr. Sinclair Sr. tried everything, calling in every favor he had, but no one dares to help them now. When a wall is about to fall, everyone gives it a push. Besides, we had already hollowed out the foundation of that wall. Mr. Sinclair Sr. has been barred from leaving the country and is under investigation for financial fraud and embezzlement. Mrs. Sinclair couldn't handle the shock. She's had a mental breakdown and has been admitted to a sanatorium. As for Julian, Mr. Davis smiled. He's a social pariah. An aggravated assault case has been filed, and with the public outcry, his career in business is over. I heard he's been trying to see you at the hospital for days but has been blocked every time. I listened calmly, feeling no great stir of emotion. All of this was within my expectations. From the moment I discovered the affair between Julian and Sophia, to when I realized the Sinclair father and son saw me merely as a tool to save their crumbling empire, this plan was set in motion. And Sophia? I asked. Her, Mr. Davis said with contempt. The moment the Sinclair family fell, Julian's first target for blame was her. My people saw him screaming at her in a parking garage, calling her a jinx who ruined his life. She was fired from the Sinclair group. She's been trying to find a new job, but everyone in our circle knows her story. No one will hire her. The day before yesterday, she sent a message through an intermediary, asking to see you. She claims she has an important secret about Julian to tell you, in exchange for your forgiveness. A secret? I laughed. A secret about Julian that even he didn't know. That sounded interesting. Let her in, I said. I'm curious to see what kind of performance she has left. Half an hour later, Sophia appeared at my hospital room door. She looked haggard, a far cry from the radiant woman at the engagement party. She wore plain clothes, no makeup, and her eyes were sunken as if from lack of sleep. The moment she saw me, she dropped to her knees with a thud, tears instantly streaming down her face. Ms. Vance, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was so wrong. She crawled on her knees to my bedside, sobbing, I'm not human. I'm worse than an animal. I shouldn't have been so foolish as to seduce Mr. Sinclair. And I especially shouldn't have provoked you at the party. I'm begging you, please be the bigger person and spare me. This tearful display of repentance might have earned some sympathy in the past. Now, I only found it pathetic. I didn't tell her to get up, just looked down at her, my voice cold. Mr. Davis said you have a secret about Julian to tell me. Sophia shuddered, clinging to this last lifeline and nodding frantically. Yes, a huge secret. She looked up, her eyes a mixture of fear and resentment. Ms. Vance, do you think Julian is merely stupid and arrogant? No, he's far more vicious than you can imagine. Sophia's voice trembled. He wasn't just trying to force you to eat the shrimp. He genuinely wanted you dead. I frowned slightly, motioning for her to continue. After we got together, he complained to me more than once that you were too smart, too powerful, always one step ahead of him in everything, making him feel suffocated. He said if it weren't for your family's background and your abilities, he never would have gotten engaged to you. Later, as the Sinclair group's crisis deepened, his reliance on you grew, and this reliance made him feel humiliated and afraid. He became terrified that one day you would completely control him, that the Sinclair family would become a mere appendage of the Vance family. Every word from Sophia sent a chill down my spine. About 6 months ago, he started researching your allergy. He secretly consulted doctors and read countless articles. He knew that this type of rapid onset allergy has an extremely high mortality rate if not treated immediately, and that it's difficult to prove as murder afterward. At most, it would be considered manslaughter. My heart sank. I had always thought Julian's demand was an act of rage born from having his lies exposed, a foolish, ego-driven act of revenge. I never imagined that beneath that foolish exterior lay such a premeditated, murderous intent. He wanted me to die, accidentally, at our engagement party. That way, he could legitimately play the role of the grieving fiancé. To gain sympathy, he could then, through subsequent maneuvers, justifiably take over or absorb the projects and assets our two families were collaborating on. A devastated widower would always receive more understanding and leeway. A brilliant, venomous plan to kill two birds with one stone. He thought you wouldn't dare to actually eat it, and even if you did, all he had to do was delay calling the ambulance, create a little chaos, and everything would be taken care of without anyone knowing. Sophia cried. He told me that once you were dead, he would marry me and make me the real Mrs. Sinclair. I was so stupid to be deceived by him. Ms. Vance, I'm telling you everything. I only ask that you let me go. I looked at her, my heart a block of ice. The proof? I asked coldly. If what Sophia said was true, then this would escalate from aggravated assault to attempted murder. The gift I was preparing for Julian needed to be a little heavier. As if she had prepared for this, Sophia immediately took a USB drive from her bag. On here, I secretly recorded some of my conversations with him. He detailed how to use your allergy, how to clear his name afterward, how to manipulate the media. She paused, a flash of vengeful satisfaction in her eyes. And there are also recordings of him and his father, Mr. Sinclair Sr., plotting how to hollow out the Vance Group's core assets as quickly as possible after your accidental death. I took the USB drive, my gaze turning completely frigid. So, that old fox, Mr. Sinclair Sr., was in on it too. The father and son had already prepared my coffin. Without a moment's hesitation, I handed the USB drive to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, take care of this personally. Give it to Captain Miller at the City Police Department, I instructed calmly. Mr. Davis took the drive, his expression extremely grave. He nodded once, said nothing, and strode out of the room. He understood the weight of this matter. Only Sophia and I remained. She still collapsed on the floor. She looked at me, her eyes filled with absolute terror. Vance, get out, I said, closing my eyes, feeling a profound wave of exhaustion. Before I changed my mind, as if granted a pardon, Sophia scrambled to her feet and fled the room. I didn't care about her petty act of betraying her former master to save her own skin. Her future was of no concern to me. Over the next few days, I recovered in the hospital while closely monitoring the developments. Julian was taken into police custody. The charge immediately upgraded from attempted assault to suspicion of attempted murder. Mr. Sinclair Sr., as an accomplice, was arrested. This, combined with the already solid evidence of financial fraud, embezzlement, and commercial bribery, meant he would face multiple charges. The Sinclair family, once a shining beacon of high society in the city, had collapsed in the most thorough and disgraceful manner in just 1 week. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. The friends and business partners who once flocked around them now avoided them like the plague. Some even proactively provided the police with more information on the Sinclairs' illegal activities to distance themselves. Their trial took place a few months later. For his premeditated attempt on my life and numerous other crimes, Julian was sentenced to life in prison. Mr. Sinclair Sr., for conspiracy, bribery, and multiple financial crimes, was sentenced to 20 years. The father and son would spend the rest of their lives behind bars. I didn't attend the sentencing. I simply had my assistant send a copy of the verdict to the Azure Bay sales office. I personally placed it in an elegant frame and hung it in the most prominent position. Beneath it, I added a small plaque. Every choice has its price. It was a judgment on the Sinclairs, and a warning to all others. As for Sophia, the White Lotus who had stirred up so much trouble, she had long since vanished into the crowd. I heard she moved to several different cities, but her glorious past always managed to follow her via the internet. Her dream of marrying into wealth was completely shattered. In the end, she could only find a mundane job in a small town, destined to live out a mediocre existence. 1 year later, the VIP lounge at the city's international airport, a figure in a cleaner's uniform was pushing a trash cart, quietly wiping a coffee stain from a corner of the floor. It was Mrs. Sinclair. She looked 20 years older. Her hair was gray and streaked, and her eyes were vacant. The faded, washed-out uniform looked ridiculous on her. Our gazes met unexpectedly. She froze for a moment. Then, a torrential wave of hatred erupted from her hollow eyes. Elara, she threw down her cleaning tools and lunged at me, screaming, "You bitch. It was you. You destroyed the Sinclair family. You destroyed my son. I'm going to kill you." Airport security reacted instantly, swarming and pinning her to the polished marble floor. She struggled violently, spewing the most vicious curses. I watched the scene calmly, took a business card from my purse, and handed it to the head of security. "She has mental health issues. Please have her sent to the best private sanatorium. I will cover all the expenses." Without another glance at her, I turned, pulled my suitcase, and walked towards the boarding gate. Behind me were her hysterical curses and cries. My assistant, Anna, walked beside me, asking with some confusion, "Ms. Vance, why are you still helping her?" I stopped, looked back at the struggling figure on the floor, and said flatly, "I'm not helping her. I just want her to live a long, healthy, and lucid life. I want her to be in a comfortable sanatorium, where every day she can see my success on television and in the newspapers. I want her to spend every waking moment living in regret and jealousy, watching me live the life that she and her son desired most but can now never attain. For someone like her, that is a torture far crueler than death." Anna shivered, not daring to ask another question. I put on my sunglasses, hiding all emotion from my eyes, and walked with my head held high into the jet bridge.